Got some folks coming in. Because this is Thriller night. I'm all sweaty. Just came back from took my kid out, hitting some balls. So, but I figured I'd get it in, you know. Or since we're talking about 1984, I guess it would be more apropos to say, slip it in. Black Flag. Chug. Oh, you're on? Shit. I got to finish the chartreuse. I can't put, that's like stacking, that's like chemistry class. I can't do chartreuse, Boddington, chartreuse. That'll fucking be the end of me. When I finish it, I'll do it. You got to donate $20 though, if I do it. Mutant Radio dared me to chug a pint because I told him it's something I used to do all the time when I was a kid. Good morning, Ted Kennedy Fried Chicken, wherever you are. Hope you're well. One of our Discord saviors printed this a couple of years ago, I think. Future Days. Fucking probably like the coolest fucking shirt I own. Yeah, it's so I'll donate another 20. Will you chug a second pint? No, come on. I got kids. I'm not getting like fucking shit faced. So there's a really specific memory I have of what 1984 kind of, and not a memory of my own lifetime, but a memory that was sort of created by someone else, which is, if you haven't seen it, the Time in Life History of Rock and Roll series was like a really huge deal in the 90s for the breadth of guests they had in it. I mean, everyone's in it. And for the sweep and the quality of the kind of storytelling, the way they compressed chapters. They had sort of like a hip hop episode. They had a punk new wave episode. And the most beautiful moment in this series comes when they're talking about the death of punk and the upstarts and new wave bands, really, because it encompasses everything. The doors get kicked open by punk, right? And that while punk itself is a formulaic thing that doesn't last, all of the early new wave, the point is the bands are coming from the outside. They're very young, you know, and they're just they don't accept the limits that have existed in the past, not because they reject them, because they don't even understand them. And they've come up with this whole new set of wave of potential futures and excitement and things that aren't informed by traditions of the past. You know, as you know, part of that is technological, but there's a moment where when they talk about the end, John Lydon is saying something, he's just being really bitter, and he's saying that new wave was watered down and it was the worst thing ever and blah, blah, blah. And everyone started being nice again. But there's a moment where they start showing footage from the Decline of Western Civilization, Part 1, that outstanding early documentary filmed in 79 and 80 on the West Coast of America. And they show these, you know, two young women, you know, one of whom I think was a manager. The other was where I think she worked at Slash magazine. I'm not sure. I'd have to go check on it, you know. But they're talking, they're saying, we wanted to change something. We wanted things to be different. We wanted it to be better. We didn't want things to be the way they were. We didn't want music to be so distant, you know, and regal. And you hear that all the time. It's felt everywhere. It wasn't just felt in England with Elton John and Genesis and, you know, all that stuff. It was felt everywhere because America had Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and, you know, ELO and giant stadium bands. And while these young women are talking about the sense of kind of the failure or the end of this excitement and initial euphoria over the sense of freedom they felt, they lay in the Police's Every Breath You Take. And those lyrics, like, of stalking and I'll be watching you, and the sense that you can't actually change anything. You can't win. You can feel like you're winning, but you ultimately don't win. And that moment was so artfully considered. It was such a fucking brilliant mashup of two incredibly vital, real moments, that one consuming the other, and just it's always going to be, in one way or another, the industry is going to win it. It's like any industry, and it's stuck with me forever. I can't encourage you enough to watch that series. But yeah, that to me represents what 1984 is, which is, it's the end. 1984, the industry wins again. They get control of it again. MTV has become so massive in just like 2.5, 3 years that now we have the MTV Video Music Awards, and Madonna rolls around on the floor, and, you know, Cyndi Lauper and her being positioned against each other for, like, who gets to be the only woman in pop. Like, it's so incredibly sad. And to her credit, in her memoir, Cyndi Lauper is just like, I don't understand where that came from. We were two different worlds, and it's silly, and it's just an external thing, and I never gave a shit about it. But I'm fresh off reading, in addition to, you know, I didn't read the Cyndi Lauper one that long ago. Probably a few months ago I read that. But no, what I just finished reading is Kathy Valentine's memoir, the bassist from the Go-Go's. And it's absolutely astonishing. If you see, like, her, when you read about her childhood, it's just like, oh my God, how is this even possible? But the Go-Go's are sort of ending. This is when Talk Show comes out in 84, and like, they've had their big year. They were on David Bowie's Serious Moonlight tour in 83. And they'd had massive hits. I talked, you know, in 82 about how it took 40 weeks for the popular moves and the touring, and Miles Copeland doing everything he did. And it took like so long for the Go-Go's to crack and finally hit the top 20. And it's just it's a really interesting thing. And it sort of speaks to this process of, like, having to fight your way in, and then by the time you get in, it all kind of sucks. And 84 is like, the record company has figured out that they can't do it as lazy as they were doing it. It's the same thing that happens with Nirvana. You get lazy, it's too easy. You're able to predict, essentially. You get right to the point where you can predict what's going to be a hit, and that's when it blows up every time. These cycles never fucking change in pop music. It's always been like this. And, you know, 84 is when media writ large, both the record industry, you know, MTV becoming a legitimate, you know, player in the market of pop, FM radio, it all just gets back on track. It's like, well, stop wanting, you know, things to keep being Led Zeppelin, and just accept this is the way to make money, and this is what kids want. And we're just in a different place, you know? Yeah. So, you know, it's just 84. There's tons of crazy good shit and underground shit. And 84 is also where, because the industry gets back in control, the division between England and the United States blows wide open again. And where you had sort of quick follow-ons in America with the Human League, with Culture Club, you know, bands getting hits. By this time, when Frankie Goes to Hollywood happens, England is like on that shit instantly. It's banned. It's a cultural flashpoint. You know, Frankie Says Relax, all of that. That whole life cycle happens in England, and then it has to be like exported to America later. It's a really weird thing how quickly, you know, because you're not going to get through the wall of Prince and Bruce Springsteen and Michael Jackson and Cyndi Lauper and Madonna. We don't really have room for whatever this fucking Two Tribes shit is. Like, no, we got enough here. We got to squeeze every fucking nickel out of. Double nickels on the dime, 1984 as well. So, I mean, as much as you think of 84 as being this huge year, and I did a two-parter for 83, 84 is really not, It's just, it starts to become predictable. Less exciting things start happening. Duran Duran starts to suck. And then you get into Notorious, and it's, and it's really weird because, the Stones are also out on tour in 83. And it just became this thing of like, okay, it's a new generation. We got to stop fighting this and embracing it. And as soon as the industry and the established mega artists embrace this new crop that had gotten through the cracks kind of untouched. I mean, the Go-Go's were fucking, their music is not exactly like, barnstorming fucking crazy, but like they were going for a long time up against total misogyny and just disregard. Nobody gave a shit about them. And, Richard Goddard produced our debut, yeah, but he produced Blondie too, and those records don't sound great. I actually don't think he's that good of a producer. He's a great songwriter, consultant in a way, but technically his productions are not that great. And the Go-Go's hated the way Beauty and the Beast sounded. But anyway, Duran's Prince role playing was funny. I'd never heard of Frankie Goes to Hollywood until recently. So this is like the idea of Relax being on FM radio or on the BBC or whatever. I mean, the song literally is about having an orgasm and like is extremely graphic, and to try the homoerotica, like everything around this band is just like way off the fucking charts. The Beastie Boys are a lot easier to filter in. Frankie, wow. I mean, what the fuck? Anyway, so let's go through the kind of, I usually do this the same way. We go through the album, the Bronski Beat, as far as the gay thing. No, I mean, the one thing about Bronski Beat I'll say, because I fucking love it. That album is so good. I have it on vinyl. Bronski Beat was so openly erasure gay that like when you see the video for Small Town Boy, it's like, oh, okay. Like it's a literate, logical, rational way to discuss homosexuality. Like there's nothing flaming about the way they went about it. It's a beautiful song. The guy's voice is incredible. The music itself is such a good synth piece. Both those big hits. And again, it's like Erasure in a way. Erasure is about empathy and sympathy and positivity about the issues of homosexuality and how this was a huge problem in the 80s because of AIDS and a million other things, right? But the way Frankie's going about it, you couldn't do that shit. Like, it was really fucking controversial. It was a huge problem. Dead or Alive, they're blowing up too, because they're like, this is also the other thing too. In England, the indie scene is fucking washed as shit. This is when like bad goth, like Play Dead, fucking Cabaret, Jesus Christ, the bands that were playing at the Hacienda in 84, it was just like, we got to figure out we need new clothes, guys. This shit's over. Dead or Alive is like, that was different. That's more of a, like you say, a theatrical sort of, well, Boy George did it. How about I take it even queenier, and that created, they had huge rows. Boy George, they would fight all the fucking time. They hated each other, Pitt and him. So anyway, the Pet Shop Boys, the gay icon status of PSB and Neil and all that was not translated at all. That was washed away in America, and they were just like, well, they're English. And, this comes later. But yeah, West End Girls was a legit fucking massive hit in America. Just, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So yeah, by this point, Thriller owns the charts. Thriller is number one until May, and then it's the Footloose soundtrack for a month, and then it's Born in the USA for a month, and then it's Purple Rain for the rest of the fucking year. 4 albums, 52 weeks, 4 albums. How's that even, like, the monoculture starts back in 84. Even though the figures are new, the image is fresher, the production is so much better and crisper. The nature and the turnover of pop music has totally gone back to, big fucking bankable superstar shit that we can squeeze fuckloads of money out of. And that's, to me, it's like as amazing as all these records are, and that when we get into the singles, it's just gold, man. The top 50 of any week, all 50 songs are like remembered today, like fucking 35 years later or whatever. but yeah, in America, you know, it's still so much following on from what we've already talked about. Like, this is when Culture Club is big in America. Color by Numbers doesn't even get in the, like, it goes to number 2 and is kept off by Thriller in 84. So, you know, we're way behind, obviously England. But, you know, this is when you get, like, we talked about Heart and Soul. I probably talked about it in both the last videos because it's such a great fucking single. But Huey Lewis's Sports, you know, Seven and the Ragged Tiger, which was not a great record. I mean, you got to remember, they had to have Nile Rodgers fix their career because Seven and the Ragged Tiger kind of just, it did not do shit compared to where they were at on the back of Rio. And so he had to make this like, guys, your shit's kind of flatlining. He freshened up Reflex and rebooted them in America. And that was the song that saved their ass because essentially the record was just, you know, trailing. Pretenders, I talked about, you know, Back on the Chain Gang and how like emotionally resonant that's always been for me, but Middle of the Road also fucking slams. And then what's his name? Jimmy, the guitarist had died. He OD'd. And God damn, I'm blanking on his name. I can't keep all this shit in my head. But yeah, stuff seems less mono today, at least in other media. And then we get 1984 Van Halen. And so like, this is, Van Halen's gone through their kind of fallow period of like heavy metal parking lot fandom and shit. Yeah, there were only 5 number 1 albums in the US in 84. Yeah, there were only 5 number 1s, but the thing is the number 2s and 3s were the same too the entire year. There's really only like, if you count up every album that appears in the top 10 of the US album charts in 84, I don't know if you're going to come up with 35 records in aggregate that make it that big. But Jump was like, I mean, of course we talk about Thriller having like 8 singles. Jump had like, what do you have? You have like Panama, Jump, fucking, my brain is not working today. Hot for Teacher, right? It's just ridiculous. I mean, that record, I have the tape in the car. I just like, Panama is the song for me. I'm not like a big, like Jump is okay. The main thing is the production on Alex's snare drum as a drummer. The production on his snare drum, nothing is even close. Like almost in the history of fucking rock. Like, forget Phil Collins, forget Hugh Padgham, all that shit. The snare drum on 1984. Oh, I mean, it was already great on the debut. Like, I don't know what he did and how he tuned it, but I mean, his drum sound. I mean, I think he's pretty massively overrated drum. Well, he was never considered like a Neil Peart type technically, but like, goddamn, his sound is just right. No gating, all headroom, pushing frequencies to the side. Like, it's such classic analog production, and people would never, because it's a pop metal band, you know, like nobody's gonna really dig deep into how sick that record sounded. And it's the Jupiter too, right? That's the Jupiter, the beginning famously of Jump. That's right. Anyway, you know, Billy Joel's still crushing. Innocent Man was on there all year. And you know, one thing that sort of smells rotten, Hot for Teacher, yeah. Yes is 90125. As big as Owner of a Lonely Heart was, 90125 didn't really hang around the charts much. It was only there for a month and it was low. So, you know, that was kind of like a one-hit wonder big time. That was really just trading on band name. But, you know, Eurythmics Touch comes up. They're getting big MTV heat. Thompson Twins, we talked about them in the last video. This is when they start to become like a big deal in America. The Pointer Sisters cover of Jump. It's not a cover. It's a different song. Jump for My Love. Anyway. And then of course the other big artist this year is the Cars, Heartbeat City. So the Cars have totally fucking blown it. They've just wasted 2 years of bullshit partying, running this record studio, Sound City on Newbury Street in Boston, in a fucking shitty triple decker where they just did blow all day. They finally get their shit together and they blast out with You Might Think and Drive, which it's so embarrassing how much Take My Breath Away is a fucking clone of Drive. That song is just singularly astonishingly beautiful. I like it doesn't, because Ocasek doesn't even sing it, right? It's like it's the drummer, it's the other guy, the blonde guy. he sings it, and Magic was great too. That's a great little pop song. Oh, it's magic. Yeah, that was great. I mean, I don't know how the Cars pivoted so well. Benjamin Orr is his name, right? Okay. The Cars did a great job of reinserting themselves in an incredibly young, image-heavy environment where they made no fucking sense as a band anymore, and they did it without totally fucking selling out. I mean, Drive is. There weren't enough songs like that, ballads like that, that you could point to and be like, well, they're just trying to, hop on the blah train or whatever. It was extremely like distinct and distinguished. But yeah, Shake It Up was like a retread. Shake It Up does much better. You're right. It does much better today in retrospect. At the time, that sort of like Happy Days dun, 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 it was a little bit too retro. It did well and everything, but in terms of like when you go whole hog, I've told you there's this Cars anthology 2 CD set that came out in the late 90s. It's got like a purple sparkly cover. God, it's so good. It's got like really early shit, like a couple demos. And it just prunes the singles and sets them in with really strong album tracks most people never hear. It's like the Buzzcock singles going steady. Like that Cars comp is such, like, it's weird to point to a comp and be like, this is how you should hear this band. But I really, they were a major label band. And so they were so focused on radio hits that their records ended up having some filler after the debut, really. I mean, they did. And any band that's doing that, that's under big time management and pressure from big record labels to come up with hits, there's no way you can write 10 hits. So records are going to have half a side of filler. The ST is a perfect album. The Cars debut is a perfect album. Elvis Costello's debut is a perfect album. We've talked about all these before. Yeah, no question. Mutant Radio is going to be out some Monday. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Well, hopefully that kills the coronavirus. Anyway, important little break. Huey Lewis's Sports did get to number 1 for 1 week. Before Born in the USA was just like, bye. And Born in the USA coming out in May and in the spring, it's actually like, it's shocking how it was way bigger than you think. Because it's only number 1 for like a month. And then Purple Rain took over everything. And like a lot of people in the music industry were like, what the fuck? Born in the USA can't get Purple Rain out of the top spot? This like disco sexy guy? Bruce can't fucking take him out? It's an unbelievable tension it's incredible, and from a racial perspective is fucking awesome, which is that Michael Jackson and Prince cover all but like 6 weeks of the fucking number 1 spot on the album charts in the United States in 1984. I mean, it's fucking cool as hell. And Tina Turner had a big comeback with Private Dancer too. So, a lot of doors were open. And then also we have the huge problem with the Ghostbusters soundtrack, where Ray Parker Jr., who I mentioned in I think 82 or 81, had his first big hit. Huey Lewis doesn't let them, won't do a song for them for Ghostbusters. And he rips off I Want a New Drug and does the Ghostbusters theme. And they sued him and they won big time. No one knows the terms of that settlement. It's never been revealed the amount of money that Huey Lewis got from Arista Records for Ray Parker Jr.'s ripoff of I Want a New Drug. But it was a lot of fucking money. They essentially bankrupted Arista. Arista only is around until I think 87 or 88 after that, because they lost all their capital in this lawsuit for this stupid fucking arrogant decision they made to do a Dog's Body sound-alike of I Want a New Drug, because Huey Lewis was like, well, fuck you. And then Huey Lewis ends up doing Back to the Future anyway and making a double fucking whammy truckloads of fucking money when their career was probably going to tank the fuck out until American Psycho makes them a meme. Which, Huey Lewis was a super fucking canny guy. I mean, sharp. And you got to remember, his band Clover, right? They play on My Aim Is True. And then here's another funny one. The bass, the actual black bass that was played for the recording of My Aim Is True, I just found out, is the bass Kathy Valentine played on the Go-Go's Beauty and the Beat. Richard Goddard had it and gave it to her, and it was like his favorite bass. He's like, you have to use this. This is My Aim Is True bass. This is like the guy from Clover. Isn't that fucking crazy? Huey Lewis, man. And he's funny as shit. I mean, he's always been like, he always knew he was too old to be doing kiddie pop. And I remember Jacob's Ladder too. God, that comes later. fuck, Jacob's Ladder was a Bruce Hornsby song that Bruce Hornsby gave to Huey Lewis because he was just like, I got too much gold. I got tons of gold. What do you want? Here's gold. Here's a hit. Have a hit. Jacob's Ladder. And they had a fucking huge hit with it. But anyway. Music Supervisor Part 2. No, I mean, it's, again, it would be so repetitive. Trust me. I duck tested the whole idea of Ghost Music Supervisor as a channel. It's not going to go Steve-O. I'm not going to get 1 million fucking subs in a month or a week or whatever. God damn, that's crazy. Good for him. Fuck it, you know? Steve-O is more famous than I guess anybody realized. We talked before about the Eddie and the Cruisers, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown thing, and Tender Years, and then like later after he finally gets to do his own deal with Tough All Over. And then somebody else also called out Rat. Round and round. This is not a heavy metal song. This is like Round and Round sounds like fucking like a disco song. It's so smooth, man, and it's got like fucking sick harmonies. Like Round and Round is so good. And so yeah, Rat out of the cellar. This is the beginning, the very beginning. Molly Cruz out there, you know, Wasp. Hey, nice timing, J. Pal. Wasp is blowing up. You know, like the Scorpions are in the top 10 as well. And you know, 85, 86, this is when it all turns over in America and you start to get the big time. Yeah, I mean, again, I really think Round and Round sounds like a fucking new wave song. If you didn't know that it was like, you know, Rat, and you heard it, I don't know. It's great. Music supervisory news needs to come from the video game industry at this point. Yeah, no, and I've talked about that too. I mean, it's, you know, I talked about it. I wrote an essay on the Substack about Marshmello being in Fortnite, and I was like, this is never going to end. This is the future. And boom, now we've got, you know, a Minecraft concert with American football and whoever else. Like, it's stupid as hell that there hasn't been more of this to me. But there's so much cross-branding that has to occur. Like the Deadpool skin is the big thing in Fortnite right now. Like, and they learned their lesson too, because after the Marshmello thing, they immediately tried to do a Weezer thing, and it sucked. And so they learned lessons from that. And so this stuff is going to get, you know, parted out and refined in a way that it hasn't yet. But yeah, whoever mentioned the Pointer Sisters breakout hit well. And then, oh God, Big Bam Boom, Daryl Hall and John Oates. That is rough shit. Whew. But yeah, I mean, and Billy Ocean too. Billy Ocean, Chicago 17 was also this year. And then at the very end of the year, after the MTV Music Awards, which happened in September, Madonna, Like a Virgin, starts to hit the charts. I mean, she was an absolute celebrity phenomenon before her music was doing jack shit. The MTV Music Awards, September, whatever, 1984. When was it? I can Google it, I guess. I don't know. It was in September, and it was just a huge fucking, it was a realization for a lot of people that, like, okay, we got this. You know what I mean? Like, this is how we do this. We make all these stars. It sounds like Panama, Round and Round. Yeah, no, it definitely does. I hear that. So we'll go to the singles charts. Actually, before I go to the singles chart, I should do. And we were talking about. Oh yeah. At the end of the last video, I was saying this. Whoa, I guess I'm not opening that one. Fuck. We were talking about hip hop because that's coming, and '84 is when hip hop blows up. It's cartoon hip hop. Well, Fat Boys they're legit, but you know what I mean. The marketing was really, unfortunately, necessarily non-threatening. But Run DMC is this Run DMC debuts. Egyptian Lover, though. I mean, this is all retro. That album became like a big thing, you know, much later. But that's this year. The Grandmaster Flash full LP finally comes out, I think, this year. And you know, I mean, hip hop becomes, it crosses over, I guess. I had talked about how I had heard the show at camp, and it was just, hip hop was considered novelty music. They couldn't break it through cleanly. They couldn't. Yeah, Escape is '84. Houdini. Yep. And but again, the marketing of it is really touchy because race stuff is a huge problem in America. Just a huge problem. I mean, it's so hard to describe how like overt racism still was. I mean, I guess you would say that 10 years from now and say it is now. But I mean, Brandon Tartikoff went around telling everybody that, hey, MTV, if you don't play Michael Jackson, I'm going to pull my entire roster. He went around telling the whole world that he made Thriller happen and that, he supported black artists. And if it wasn't for him, Michael Jackson would have never made it on MTV. Get the fuck out of here. He's such an idiot. That's bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Everybody had the Kangas and the Pumas and the full, Adidas body, that was coming from that culture. That's not like it was a fucking marketing thing from the music industry. LL comes out with Bad. I have the tape over there. And I mean, everyone, that whole, when D.D. King, when D.D. Ramone tries to do his rap thing, there was still a lot of wealth signaling in that, that culture that was real because poverty was so real. So it's a very confusing thing. And again, I really shy away from expounding too much on these topics, but yeah, it was really weird. It was my name is, and I'm here to say, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you had to kind of come out there. You didn't get to make your own statements, but yeah. So this is also, we talked in the last couple, various things came up like Peter Gabriel Security, that Kate Bush record, things that were made in Art of Noise, things that were made with the Fairlight CMI, this new, and Thomas Dolby and the Eurythmics and these new artists. And, and then in this year, in 84, as I said at the top, you got Frankie and Relax. And that's also involved with Morley and Trevor Horn and all those people. And Herbie, so this is the big year of Rocket, Herbie Hancock's Rocket, which is the first thing that becomes a simultaneous hit as a song, but an absolute fucking phenomenon as a video. And the whole notion, of a video as a conceptual art form really goes here to Rocket. I mean, I told you there's always been, it's like West Side Story shit. Beat It, Love is a Battlefield. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, those are dance routines. It's the history of Broadway, of stage show performance. It's not internalized. It's not a visual art form. And yeah, the Rocket video is terrifying. I would totally agree with you. It's really messed up. And there were things, shortly after this, you start to get to, the Peter Gabriel big time stuff, Sledgehammer and all this like absolutely astonishing money being thrown at these videos and saying, well, this can be an aspect of it. And so here in 84, you've also got the Talking Heads with Burning Down the House. And that video has also got some extremely, as you would expect with them, forward thinking, visual, flair. But this is when, because to this point, no record company is investing money in videos. Like the Go-Go's video for Our Lips Are Sealed is like totally illegally shot. They just drive around and jump in a fountain and do some bullshit. And it's shot on like 16 millimeter. I mean, or I don't even know what. Just, it's awful. The quality is ridiculous. It's so bad. And most early videos are like that. They're shot on tape, like the Knack, My Sharona, and Elvis Costello's early videos. And look, God, Jesus Christ, go look at any early Cure video, like the video for Play for Today, or like Primary or whatever, like, and Charlotte Sometimes. Go look at, go look at the Soft Cell videos, like the super racist one with the slaves in it. Like, what the fuck? But the quality is just dog shit. One of the only bands, It's My Life, is Tim Pope actually did that video. The famous Cure video director, Tim Pope, he did the It's My Life video with the squiggles and the drawings. And that was like a dog shit stock footage, just like take a bunch of stock footage of animals and we'll fill it out. We got like 8 minutes of film on the A-roll, and then we're buying some fucking library shit to pad the rest of this because there's no budget. The only bands that had big investment in video as a bet is like Culture Club and Duran. And it proved the value of spending on a video, and record companies were not willing to do that. They considered MTV a totally unproven thing. This is the year when that shit changes, and John Landis is doing Michael Jackson videos. And it just really, it becomes a bar. You have a new bar in music. You haven't had a new bar. Now you have two at once. You have a technical bar for electronic production and electronic music and electronic, studios, the first digital audio workstation, the CMI, and the Synclavier is coming up. And you have affordable digital technology that's comprehensible. So you have a production and a sonic bar that's now totally brand new. At the same fucking time, you have a new bar marketing-wise and image-wise and MTV. And your ability to top those two new, requirements dictates whether or not you work. It's pretty fucking weird to look back on it for me, having grown up with it, not understanding any of this until, years of wasting my fucking life studying it. It is hilarious how comprehensible it is in retrospect. And when, someone who's younger, like all, you guys, when you're thinking back to these times, it's important to understand that there's so much money being made from millions of records being sold that it changes the entire foundation of the music industry. While the resulting control is reestablished, as I said in the beginning, that's it's reestablished by spending money, outspending the competition to sink them. That's it. If you see something enough, if you see the Eurythmics enough, if you see the Pretenders enough, that's what's good. If you see Cyndi Lauper enough, that's wow. All of that creates a vacuum that creates a separation, an air gap between people who don't have those resources. So we'd had this like kind of 2-3 year window where some real kind of fucking left field shit like Lip Sync and Funky Town happens out of fucking nowhere. But that money is just flying all around the place. It's not coordinated. In 84, they got that shit coordinated. It's all back under control, and it all becomes predictable again from here until Nirvana. So as great as all this music is and as exciting and vibrant as a lot of it still is today, you got to understand that by this time, we're back at the old game again. But the vitality and the faith and the drive of the underground, that, as I mentioned in 83, it's the belief that you can just be at this level and that has value, that it has rewards. That's a new thing. The idea of willfully being an independent circuit band, a college band, totally fucking new. And there's a signature compilation. This is the expanded mega 85 million songs version New Red Archives did. But this piece compilation in 84 that comes out, this is the start of like the Gilman Street shit. In a lot of ways, that attitude. And it gets bands from all over the country. You got Articles of Faith, Dix, we talked about them last time. And DRI's on this. I don't know if they were on the original. I think the album stops before that. But, and I talked about all these bands, like, this idea of my scene and my this and whatever, it's new. And there's no question that when you get Double Nickels and Zen Arcade in the same fucking year, there's no room for that on the radio. There's no room for that on MTV. But, let it be Double Nickels, Zen Arcade. We'll get into that in a minute. But this is where there's time and investment in independent music. Yeah, and it's SST in both cases. There's time and investment in independent music because you don't need to make it. Making it's a false choice. You can sustain it. And the idea of sustaining, becomes its own thing. REM's on A&M Records. They're not an indie band. REM was never an indie band. They were on a major from the moment after Hibtone. It doesn't mean they're not one of the best fucking bands of the decade. I'm just saying you can't lump REM in with the Minutemen. That's silly. Meat Puppets 2 is also, oh my God. Yeah, that's this year. All right, let's do the singles chart sweep. We're getting almost, we're almost halfway. Getting there, man. Oh God. So 84, so many weird things happened. Oh, also, I didn't mention, in the early 80s, there was a huge fucking change. The British charts changed the same way that SoundScan changed in America in the early 90s. I think Gallup started controlling the charts in England, and I don't know if that was 82. That's a big factor because a band like Frankie is never going to get to number 1 and 2 with Two Tribes and Relax under the old regime of calling in record shops to be like, hey, what's going, hey, and just talking shit. Yeah, wow. Anyway, you want to do, okay, we can do the English charts first. Chill, guys, you don't, come on. England. So yeah, I mean, what do we get? We get Defenders of the Faith, Judas Priest, but Wang Chung, Points on the Curve, doesn't come out until January of this year. I talked about it in the last video. Christine McVie's solo record comes out. I got somebody's love, got a hold on me. God damn, that's a great fucking, that's just a leftover from Mirage. It's such a good song though, man. Oh, Christine McVie's voice is just like, mommy. Anthrax hits it too. Anthrax, Fistful of Metal. But like, all right, I'll try and go through the UK stuff. So Sparkle in the Rain, I talked before, people were, saying that I was saying that they came so much later, blah, blah, blah. But they'd already had, a solid hit. And then they cover, oh man, that's right. They covered Street Hassle on this. Fuck, that record is so grim. They had Promised You a Miracle, but like this record sucks. It's like really bad. And then Into the Gap. So Into the Gap, Thompson Twins. This is like, again, just look at the cover of this. Google the cover of this. It's like a fucking ad. It's literally, it looks like an ad for a Maxell blank tape. Into the Gap. It's so fucking corny. And I mean, it went gold. How many hits were on this? Hold Me Now, Doctor Doctor. They had Lies, Lies, Lies earlier. Oh God, that video is so bad. Lies, 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 yeah. But it was a big hit. And another big hit in England. I'm not gonna say ever that something that I perceive to be big in England didn't break in America, because I've already been gas faced for that. But Nick Kershaw, baby, this is his fucking year. Nick Kershaw absolutely fucking crushed it in the UK in '84, because he's like, as big as Wham is, Nick Kershaw is a persistent and uniquely big MOR, middle of the road British UK hit. But yeah, I mean, Careless Whisper, we get two big hits from American artists, which is I Just Called to Say I Love You and Hello. The two arch cornball fucking, like the guy, just, the worst kind of Wall Street, early 40s. Hey, honey, let's put on some Stevie Wonder. I Just Called to Say I Love You and Lionel Richie's Hello. Like, and they make jokes about it in fucking High Fidelity, the movie, which they should. But White Lines is this year. Fuck, and that was huge in England, not just in America. Oh, White Lines is such a... It's like the OG Public Enemy song. It's just so fucking good. And of course, 99 Luftballons, Nina's version, was also a big, like by this point, when 99 Red Balloons comes out, you already know if a song is a one-hit wonder. Like, Ghostbusters is a one-hit wonder. 99 Red Balloons is a one-hit wonder, like the second it comes out. But in terms of legacy, catalog artists, Cyndi Lauper is going to be one. Prince is already one. So there's already this kind of distinction. What else was big in England? I already talked about this, and so that's why. This is the beginning of the soundtrack song with Against All Odds. Phil Collins, massive, just both sides. And this is Band-Aid. Do They Know It's Christmas? Does it ever stop selling? Do They Know It's Christmas stop charting at any point in the history of England or the UK writ large? For the next 35 years, every December, I think Do They Know It's Christmas charts. Every December for 35 years. It's sold more copies, I think, than like anything in the history of music. It's fucking ridiculous. But it's funny because in England, like I said, Nick Kershaw, wouldn't it be nice if we, oh God, that video is so awesome. And I love how it has that creepy fucking weird new wave thing in the crescendo after the chorus. So it's like, I don't wanna be, it's like this weird fucking Gary Newman new wave shit in the middle. Oh man. And this is when U2 blows up they on college radio in America, but Pride. We watch Rattle and Hum on the Chord cast. Thank you, Joe. Joe made a fucking bumper for the front of our Chord movie nights. So if you get on the Discord, we're doing movie nights pretty much once a week. I think it would be too much to do it more than once a week. And so far we did Erga Music War. A bunch of people hung on and did Decline 1 after that. I didn't stay because I've seen Decline 1 so many times, but we did Rattle and Hum last night, and man, that shit was gold. But yeah, Pride and all that shit, U2 really starts to take it to another level this year. And they become like an evergreen kind of alt rock band. Massive lowlight for OMD with Locomotion. Oh, whew. But Depeche now becomes not a kind of dinky dink pinup joke of like, wow, are they the palest band ever? You get People Are People. People Are People solid. That's solid shit, and it does well on both sides of the Atlantic. And in terms of weird outliers, other than that, it's like stupid joke shit, like Captain Sensible's weird thing he did, Damned on 45 was this year. And what was the other one? The Bluebells. The Bluebells had a hit this year. What was it called? Oh, and Alvin Stardust too had like a old man comeback. I Won't Run Away. But yeah, England starts to look very, very different for the next, like, the rest of the 80s, honestly. There's kind of an isolationist thing because American music is so big and so obvious in a lot of respects, and that's just kind of one of the things that's a constant trend. Oh, Much Too Late for Young at Heart. Thank you, Bluebells, Young at Heart. Yeah, OMD committed commercial suicide. Yeah, absolutely. So fucking bad. Yeah, that's right. So we get Ride the Lightning comes out. No, Ride the Lightning is not until 85, right? I don't know, but anyway. Yeah, Anthrax. So we talked about DRI and Anthrax and all that shit. Sorry, I missed a bunch of chat. Let me just go back up. Yeah, we're talking about doing DM 101 next, and that will probably be fun. Because it's such a good movie. Depeche Mode's 101 is amazing. Hysteria was a total fucking flop, Motion on Motion. Human League's Hysteria was such a fucking, like, Lebanon did nothing in America, just done. And look at his fucking hair, dude. That shit's not gonna work over here. Come on. Alphaville does club, like they're in the clubs and shit, but I don't think, yeah, Brian Eno's The Pearl is 84. That's a great ambient record. I fucking love that. Yeah, Ride Lightning is 84. Kill 'Em All was 83, right? I don't know. Anyway, Dazzle Ships. 84 has Killing Joke 80s. Yep. You were living in the 80s. But okay, so I mean, maybe I'll go into the post-punk and that shit after, but we're only at 47 minutes. We got in under an hour. Let's try and get it together in Electric Dream. Oh shit. Is Mutant Radio on? Are you guys on? Chat if you're on. I'm not gonna do this if they're not on. Is Robert on? See confirmation. I'm not gonna do this if they're not on. I don't need the fucking agony. But yeah, so as much as I'm talking about how everything gets codified and recodified and all that shit, you're here? I hear the secrets that you keep. His lisp. Watch the video for Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. Oh my God. The guy's lisp, like, there's no reason to focus on his mouth this much. It's a great fucking tune, though, man. A great tune. Romantics, I've got the vinyl over here. Talking in Your Sleep is unironically some signature fucking 80s hip swagger, mid-tempo rock. Like, that shit's great. Get on that. So Google that, and I don't even know if I can do this, dude. It's been a long fucking time. That is an Imperial pint. Oh my God. It could have been 20 years since I've chugged a pint. All right, I'll give it a shot. Fuck it. Doctors Without Borders. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Hello is a huge number one hit. Yeah, no, I mean, Lionel Richie was massive, both sides of the... I talked about that a second ago. But, so, there are separations between album and singles charts. And so, it's stupid to go, like, talk about how Culture Club and all this stuff had top 10 singles, because obviously, you know, You Need the Snake, Duran Duran. But the weird ones, you know, Owner of a Lonely Heart is like number one. Say, number one. Jock, that's very scary. I can't. Yikes. Chuggo. But yeah, the Romantics, these are one-hit wonder type things. Break My Stride, Matthew Wilder is still charting. We went into that last time. And that's a great song. And I know, because I have a 13-year-old daughter, the fucking unending TikTok bullshit with that song. Kids are going to have their own memes, fine. But, like, you know, when I hear that, I'm like, why are you listening to Matthew Wilder? What happened? Who did a meme? Who fell off their bike? But, you know, we talked about Lionel Richie and Billy Joel, and these are Pat Benatar. These are just, they're big. But Peter Schilling's Major Tom, falling, this really weird, fucked up, like, I'm going to write a sequel to a David Bowie song and make it like a cheesy fucking, like, what? It's so weird. I never, I don't like the song. I think it's incredibly flimsy through and through, and it's way too fucking long and have too many changes. Major Tom, Greater Than Space Oddity. Yeah, I mean, it's just, Jesus Christ, it's so weird. But I mean, the preeminence and the dominance of Lionel Richie is important to understand, because forget Hello, like All Night Long and Running with the Night are like number 9 and number 10 at one point. The guy has 2 singles, like, so crazy. John Waite's Missing You is a great tune. It kind of is. I mean, the synths are so fucking washed and lame. Ding doom, ding doom. Since you've been gone away, I'm missing you. So blah, 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 blah. Other weird ones. We talked about Pink Houses. We talked about Madonna. Islands in the Stream. Yep, big time. And it's almost like when we used to do like top 100, top 200 albums or whatever. Oh yeah, Night Shift. Oh my God, Night Shift. I remember hearing that all the time on the radio. It's almost like when you look at the bottom 100 of a top 200 or the bottom 50 of a Hot 100, it's almost like the more interesting shit is in the back end at this point, because the separation between what's big and what's happening is like so massive. So here's an interesting one. Real Life, Send Me an Angel. Total fucking UK one-hit wonder that went nowhere. But the funniest thing about Send Me an Angel is they like re-recorded it in, I don't know, it was the 90s. And I just remember I was like, because I had seen it when I was a kid, and it has this like goth, like Arthurian video where it's like this flimsy UK like synth band. And he's like riding through this, it's like a Hammer horror movie. It's so funny. Like, go see the video for Send Me an Angel by Real Life. This song was so massive. And again, they spiced it up at some point, similar to Modern English did this with I'll Melt With You. I Melt With You is this year, or last year into this year. And then in the late 80s, they did like a polished up version. I think this all happened because the Psychedelic Furs did that totally cheesy version of Pretty in Pink. Is that the one they re-recorded? And so like a lot of these bands who were like indie bands that had shitty recordings of what ended up becoming kind of legacy mid-tempo pop hits, they re-recorded them relatively soon after and got like a decent, second run. It's weird. So we got my boy John Cougar. He's in there. Kool and the Gang's Joanna. That was a big one. So where does it start to feel weird? Yamo Be There, James Ingram with Michael McDonald. Wow. Yamo Be There. That's some interesting shit. And like the Fix still had a third single with Sign of the Fire trying to get on Grid On. These are these are songs that nobody hears again. But we were talking about metal. Bang Your Head is this year. Quiet Riot. I only mentioned Defenders of the Faith, but Quiet Riot had Bang Your Head, which was legit big. But Got a Hold on Me, man. Christy McVie. Love her. Politics of Dancing, Reflex. That's another weird one-off. Yeah, I talked about I didn't talk about Automatic, but I talked about the Pointer Sisters were serially huge in 83 and 84. Yeah, and then we get the crossover in the US. So I Will Follow starts charting in January, and so does Red Red Wine. And 84 was Sade big. Oh my God, Sade was huge. Sade was really big. I mean, Smooth Operator was legit massive in America. But there was a total after that they did nothing. It was considered kind of like a one-off. And Sade totally screwed with Whitney Houston's career because the image Whitney Houston had on the debut, this is essentially like racial profiling, but like people thought it was the same. I'm serious, it was fucking weird. Sade was big initially, very, very big. A lot of belief in her as a singer. I just still, man, Say, and that goddamn Spies Like Us movie stuff freaks me out. Karma Chameleon and Jump kind of like pushing through the spring, 1 and 2. We talked about Genesis, Wrapped Around Your Finger. God, I love that. It's my favorite song on Synchronicity. It's an excuse to try. Yeah, there's finally an excuse to talk about Strawberry Switchblade. You don't need an excuse. Come on. Since Yesterday was like their kind of mid-tempo-y ballady thing. I don't know anything about the existence of Strawberry Switchblade until years later, when I'm a teenager and shoegaze is big, and Revolver does this. Oh God, Revolver does this completely maudlin, like non-ironic ballad version, shoegaze ballad version. Actually, it's not even shoegaze. It has like strings in it and shit of Since Yesterday. And I love it. I put it on one of my morning train mixes. I love it. I don't care. Like, is it cool? No, it's Revolver. They were like bad shoegaze, late coming chancers. No, I hate Swans. I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk about here. I do not give a shit about Swans at all. Never have. Shannon's Let the Music Play. Big jam. So we're starting to get like stuff like this. And we're going to get Lisa and Cult Jam, and we're going to get Gloria Estefan, and we're starting to get like urban, not necessarily like black. Like they're starting to become like some kind of like fascination with, you know, in the streets, you know, having fun, block party culture. Strawberry Switchblade totally pivot to Japan weirdly because again, the look, right? The look is so Harajuku. But yeah, I mean, Since Yesterday is their version is good, you know. I don't think 84 is the entry point to start talking about Coil. Is the Blue Nile sophisticated pop or is it just boring? It's worse than that. It sucks. So when I talk about how like the distinction between the top and then like the mid ground, Yamo Be There is a really fucking interesting thing that's like, it's like, what is it? And just like other weird things that like some things are corny, like Joystick by the Daz Band is this year. The SOS Band, I think, also has that big hit this year. I'll have to see if I get to it. But like sort of, again, there's this ghettoization of you know, non-white artists. They have to make novelty songs or have novelty appearances almost to get accepted. It's really gross. But there's still great music in there. I mean, I've talked repeatedly about how much I love like Cameo and the Gap Band and shit. But it's strange. It's not strange. It's obvious. What am I talking about? Excuse me. That's what happens when you chug a pint of Boddington's. Boddington's is relatively low alcohol, so it's not like I did like a fucking thing of Elephant or Tennant's Super. But Hold Me Now. Warm my cold and tired heart. Stay with me. Let lovin' start. Hold Me Now. History does not properly communicate how big the Thompson Twins were for a good 2 years. They were fucking everywhere. No, Yamo Be There, I know it's still around, but I don't know. Yeah, Cameo is hugely underrated because of the hit. You know, if Word Up doesn't make him go to that level, or them to that level of like one hit wonder, there's a lot of good shit in there. Like, what's that Stranger, that song where it's the videos like they're in a gas station out west. It's such a fucking jam. SOS Band on the Rise. Yeah, that's awesome. And just the way you like it, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and again, it's like you're trying to get a vibe, you know? Oh, god damn. And then the fucking counterpoint to Mr. Roboto. All we hear is Radio Gaga. Radio Goo Goo. The worst song Queen ever recorded. I don't think there's a worse song in Queen's catalog than Radio Gaga. What an absolute fucking piece of shit. Ugh. Rattlesnakes is 84? Really? No shit. Wow. That's strange. My brain's trying to reassemble it. I can't reassemble it. My brain's not reassembling it. Are you ready to be heartbroken? That's this fucking year? You're shitting me. Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken by Lloyd Cole is 84? Please, chat, confirm this. Like, I'm gonna fucking, that seems so not right to me. In my head, like, that's a bit later. God damn, that's weird. Laid Back, White Horse. October 84. Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken? God damn, that's way earlier than I thought that song. I guess not way earlier. I mean, it's not like I thought it was from 89 or some shit, but wow. That's a great fucking tune, man. If you haven't heard Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken by Lloyd Cole, it's super fucking pretentious. Like, it's like, you know, oh, I'm going to out you, you student toss bag. Like, yeah, dude, wow. There's a reason it's one of Ricky Gervais's favorite songs. But yeah, Laid Back, White Horse, man, that's fucking 84. That shit bombs hard. And also this year, and the whole Elton John's, I guess that's why they called it the blues, was a lot bigger than maybe chart history is going to tell someone who's looking back. Frankie Knuckles, yeah, that all starts to come up, and yeah, obviously we get into the Jack period in a couple of years later too. But yeah, Laid Back, White Horse. Oh man. Shalimar, Dancing in the Sheets, these kind of things, like all that shit, like that, anything vaguely ethnic, you know, there's just like this bit, and of course you got to go check out the Charlie Murphy story about Shalimar got a new girl in the band. Like, that fucking story, that's the best fucking anecdote I think Charlie Murphy tells, for all the great anecdotes he told in that show. God, rip Charlie Murphy, but like that story he tells about the Mickey Free joining Shalimar, oh my fucking god, because it's so true, because Mickey Free is fucking non-gendered gorgeous. Like, I mean, oh my god, it's such a fucking accurate comment. Like, it's so good. Why don't I like hard art? Because nothing needs to be that difficult. Like, work through your bullshit somewhere else. I don't need to be subjected to your frustration and inability to resolve your inspiration in life to express yourself. Yeah, Mickey Free. Fruity Picks. Yeah, we talked about Laid Back, White Horse. I just went off about it. But like other weird ones, where am I? So Yamo Be There starts to fade off. Okay, so I'm in March. We're doing okay. It's only just an hour. What are some other ones? Like, oh, so this is when Berlin gets on the chart. So Berlin exists way before Take My Breath Away, and that's why Giorgio Moroder, knows who they are and picks them to do Take My Breath Away, which is this single No More Words, which was actually a pretty solid hit, big hit in Europe. Game blouses. And anyway, so I mentioned before, Defenders of the Faith and Bang Your Head and all that shit. This is the beginning of poodle ballads, because 84, you know what's coming. Dun, 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 dun. Sister Christian, Night Ranger, 1984. This is some fucking bargain basement ballad shit right here. God damn, Sister Christian. I gotta say, like, I've been talking about, like, for no reason, 3 different ways. I've been talking about Boogie Nights the last, like, 4 nights. I tweeted out a joke about Doom Trip, you know, because I love them, and I've been all over Doom Trip from, like, literally probably within the first 8 months, and, like, sending ridiculous stalker crazy emails, and he's such a good dude about it. Like, there's a period probably 2 years ago when I was like, you're as big as Supreme right now. You're as big as Supreme. You're a cultural phenomenon. Doom Trip Records. And he's like, Dad, dude, stop, please. I mean, he's just so cool about it. Because I'm this old dude who's like, you're doing it, man. But I love Doom Trip. I fucking do. They're so good. But anyway, I tweeted at him about it, and then this other thing came up, and then that scene, honest to God, that scene of that fucked up dude, you know, and there's also this thing in Boogie Nights where every single character has the same establishing shot. Like, I tweeted the gif of the establishing shot on Julianne Moore. It's always from this angle, and it's a dolly shot that comes up at them. There's the one of Mark Wahlberg during the drug deal when he has his moment of clarity and he smiles and he's just like, and then he tries to get out of the situation. Every single character has that same dolly tracking shot in the movie. So, and Heather Graham has it in the classroom early on when the guy's making the lewd blowjob thing. Every single character has that dolly shot on them at some point in the movie. And it's fucking hilarious when you think about how green PTA was when he made this movie, because he thought that was like his move. It's so corny, but phenomenal movie. God damn, I love it. And, you know, fucking PSH, man. Hard to say, like, rip to a dude that checked out with kids and all that. I have strong feelings about that shit, obviously, with 4 kiddos, but clearly he just could never find any comfort. So, you know, unbelievable fucking talent we lost in that guy. Terrifying. He's just scary. Let the music play. Oh, shit. Again, you know, I talked about it earlier, but those types of songs start to become, you know, kind of conga songs in a way. They're kind of like disco conga. Married to the Mob. Yeah, baby. Marky Mark's best performance and scene. I think The Gambler is really underrated, and not just because he lost all the weight. There's some things about The Gambler that are incredibly stupid. Like, John Goodman is such a fucking puss out casting call to have him in that role. He's not good in that role. It's stupid. But Wahlberg has serious fucking chops, like, underneath it all. That dude can fucking act. Yeah, Stop Making Senses this year, Jonathan Demme. Yep, that's right. And that record does pretty well. And obviously the movie I believe it was theatrically released, but I was too young to know that. So we talked before about Weird Al. Eat It is top. What does it get to? Number 12. Yeah, Eat It doesn't. I don't think it cracks the top 10, but it gets to 12. But it was big. I mean, that record sold insanely well. Really big. And then, so I mentioned before Duran Duran, the Reflex, and how Nile Rodgers has to fix their whole career. And that's what he does. And it's big. And Reflex starts climbing the chart around this time in mid-84. And at the same time, It's My Life by Talk Talk. This is in America, these charts, starts to show up. So, you know, Relax finally slowly starts to inch its way up the chart here in America. But, you know, Take a Look at Me Now Against All Odds is number 1. Number 2 is Hello by Lionel Richie. And number 4 is Hold Me Now. And it's like big ballad. And They Don't Know finally. Yeah, so Tracy Ullman, They Don't Know is top 10. It's number 8. And I went off about that because it was a big hit in England the year before in 83. It's one of my favorite fucking recordings ever. So there's tons and tons of ballads everywhere. And Islands in the Stream is still in there, and Sister Christian. And it's just a very, the FM is so dominated by love songs and ballads and shit, and it's such a thing of the 80s that Paul Young does get on the charts, by the way. Come Back and Stay is in the 70s around this time. God, and here we go. Somebody's Watching Me. Rockwell, classic, ultimate. You know, Michael Jackson just hooks a guy up, throws a guy a song, and sings one line on it that they just end up doing loop. Probably, they probably ADR'd it. I mean, yeah, Somebody's Watching Me was big, and it had a really creepy, weird fucking video that was kind of scary. Icicle Works. Oh yeah, Birds Fly. Yeah, that's part of that whole. That starts charting actually around this time, the summer of '84. That was a big hit. I mean, again, so the Breakfast Club is going to come out. And Birds Fly is part of that. You know, I'll Melt With You, Birds Fly, Send Me an Angel by Real Life. These are like these, you know, reverb, chorus, twinkly, you know, mid-tempo, what I've said before, great gray Anglican classics. And they were big and they were latched onto by everybody. I mean, Birds Fly is I mean, I remember it from that time. You know, at this point I'm 9, and my sisters had it and played it all the fucking time. It was an incredibly original song, that insistent tom, and not in the kind of Burundi beat way that Adam Ant had been. It's and not also in the kind of drudging kind of Larry Mullen Jr. I'm half asleep, I can't fucking play the drums way. Birds Fly is like, I think of it as I almost think of Icicle Works as like a forerunner of Lightning Seeds, like Ian Brody's band, because it's got so much melody and tempo and conviction. It's like a brilliantly fucking driving, like positive champion chest out kind of a song. I've had it on my fucking jogging playlist for like my entire life. Birds Fly. Whisper to a Scream. They made him put Whisper to a Scream in parentheses. I don't fucking know why, but who cares? Yeah, Rockwell was like a buddy. As a studio buddy. It was total nepotism, but yeah, Original Sin, right? He's down there recording it. They didn't crack. I mean, Original Sin was totally college ghetto shit. It didn't. Yeah, no, Relax was like super. You don't. Yeah, exactly. Like Relax was not in America. It's like a naughty song for teens, and I mean, I assume it is in the UK as well. But like, it was like a coke abandoned, you know, club louche kind of a thing. He was one of Berry Gordy's nephews. Yeah, I don't know the story of the nepotism behind Rockwell, but like it's popularly understood that's like, you know, how that happened. Oh, I Could Dream About You. Dan Hartman. That's a fucking monster one-hit wonder from the 80s. I can dream about you. That was a big fight. And again, this is the corny fucking like GMC, you know, Bob Seger, Like a Rock era fucking cheeseball rock ballad shit. But it's a good song. And then Dance Hall Days, Wang Chung is also at this point like big shit. They start to really crack it. And again, that was one of the Music Supervisor videos, was about To Live and Die in LA. The fact that the first thing Wang Chung does after they crack the American charts and become this big popular phenomenon is take a pretentious soundtrack job with William Friedkin for the most fucking hard R-rated action movie ever made to that point, To Live and Die in LA. That's what Wang Chung did with the juice off Dance Hall Days. They made like the soundtrack to one of the most fucking hardcore badass movies ever made. Hilarious. And they crushed it. City of Angels is like, Jesus Christ, the 8-minute opening fucking synth, just like, God damn. Like it makes up for the fact that they do Everybody Have Fun Tonight. That was some serious shit. And they wrote a great fucking like beautiful theatrical cinematic pop song in the title track. In the title track To Live and Die in LA, even though Friedkin had said like, look, I love you guys. I'm obsessed with the song Wait from the last song on Points in the Curve. I really don't write a song that says "To Live and Die." Don't say the title. That just is so corny. Please don't do that. First thing they turn back to him, the song called "To Live and Die in LA." The chorus is "To Live and Die in LA." He's like, amazing. It's fucking great. It's great. You have to read his book. I mean, somebody in the Chord has the EPUB of it. I have the actual book, but I mean, he doesn't go into "To Live and Die in LA" too much in the book. But there are a couple of things he doesn't explicitly call out, which is that Basquiat had wanted his paintings to be the paintings that Willem Dafoe's character paints and lights on fire. He sent him paintings like, hey, would you do this? And Prince sent him the demos for Purple Rain before it came out, asking if he could do the soundtrack to Live and Die in LA. And William Friedkin threw him away. True fucking story. Yeah. All right, where are we at? We're halfway through the year, and I got about 15 minutes probably, so that's good. We're good. Oh, good, but I didn't get into the punk shit, really. God damn, I have to do another fucking part 2. No, because, I mean, the last one, it wasn't that exciting. I mean, yeah. I don't know. God. So, yeah, Talk Show, the Go-Go's last album comes out. Head Over Heels. That's just not a good song. They lost it. But yeah, in terms of single performance now at the end of the year, I always associate Prince with The Fall, because that's when, like, When Doves Cry and everything on Purple Rain blew up, is the fall of '84. Right, and Bananarama actually hits here, and that is Deep in Summer. That's coming up. But god damn, we don't want to forget this one, because I don't think the LP charted. Infatuation, Rod Stewart's fucking new wave song, man. Infatuation. This was big, man. It has a good little keyboard wash in the back too. And then the Jacksons come back around with State of Shock. State of Shock. Oh man, I love State of Shock. I love that song. I still love it now. I can listen to State of Shock. It's way too long, but damn, it's a fucking good song. Oh, gotta love it. Oh, that's a weird one. 1098 Face to Face. Google that shit. That does not get replayed. Dan Harmon had a huge disco hit in the 70s. That makes sense. Oh, this is the first chart appearance of Whitney Houston. The duet with Teddy Pendergrass, Hold Me. Little known fact on you. And Weird Al Yankovic, I Lost on Jeopardy. I already talked about how this was all coming. Psych Furs, Ghost in You actually charted. That's good to know. I did not know that. Made the chart. But this is when Legs starts to hit. She got Legs and Sharp Dressed Man, ZZ Top, like deep in the summer of '84. Top shit. Magic by the Cars, somebody called that out. That comes in here. And then you get, like I was talking about, all the conga and the like 80s, like it's like disco with a jump. Let's Hear It for the Boy. Denise Williams, baby. That song was so big. Let's Hear It for the Boy was monstrously big. Same time as What's Love Got to Do with It. Well, and this is an absolute fucking legend. All right, I got to tell this story. Yeah, I can do like 15. So, because everyone was so freaked out by Annie Lennox's appearance, not only does the apocryphal joke about MTV requesting proof of her gender happen, a record label, a very big record label, EMI, decides it'll be easier if we just make this song with a pinup. And so Corey Hart does Sunglasses at Night, which is literally a rewrite of Sweet Dreams Are Made of This with the guitar lick from Beat It pasted over the chorus. It's the most egregious, disgusting thing that's probably ever been done Corey Hart has never copped to it. He's never admitted it. He still does fucking bullshit 80s tours and whatever, and takes every fucking dime he can and talks about what a great time it was, blah, blah, blah. Sunglasses at Night is the most cynical thing that I think has ever happened in the history of pop music. It's so fucking gross. Yeah, I mean, really nobody has called that out to my knowledge. And I really think he should just, like, I don't know if we blame him. Maybe he never heard Beat It. Maybe he never heard Sweet Dreams, you know? It's so fucking nasty. Really bothered me. Borderline. So this is the first, like, good Madonna song. Starts to tick in. I love Borderline. Man, if it was produced well. Oh, and I should not fail to mention, this is when Steve Perry goes solo with Oh Sherry. I'm gonna have to wrap it up. We're coming up an hour and a half, and the kids are getting fucking crazy. Oh God, that's right. Slade. The last thing Slade does, I think, My Oh My, is this year. The opening. It's just the verse is Sweet Dreams, and then when you go into the chorus, they're playing the Beat It refrain on guitar. It's unbelievable. Rick James, 17, also this year. Drop 19's cover of Angel is one of the greatest covers of all time. No, man. Oh. It kicked the shit out of me for 3 years long. Big controversy, summer of 84. Cyndi Lauper's She Bop. Talking about some girl parts. Not appropriate. She Bop was a big fucking deal. It was like she talks about it in her memoir. You got to read Cyndi Lauper's book. It's so fucking, you can't believe what her life was like. But Cruel Summer comes in here because it's summer. But Cruel Summer, that song it creeps me out because it makes me think of how scared I was of Karate Kid. And when Ralph Macchio gets like beat up and stuff, like that movie really scared me. Like I was terrified of getting beaten up by big kids at that age. It's like the perfect age to like not want it. Like, it was really scary. No, I'm in love with Cyndi Lauper like now. Like I always have been. She's just amazing. Let's Go Crazy comes in. That's my favorite. God, the intro of that song, when all of a sudden he just starts talking and then he starts talking in the beat and it's like, dun, dun, oh my God, fuck that. So good. Missing You, we talked earlier about John Waite. That comes in. And then our boy in America, Eyes Without a Face. Eyes without a face. Nobody can sneer like that fucking guy. And it's the right side of his mouth, too, I think, not the left, which most people sneer on their left. That's what makes Billy Idol so... I talked about the ballads. Like, If This Is It, Huey Lewis. Same, just... like bad doo-wop, shoo-wop shit. Ugh. Grim. Twisted Sister. We're Not Gonna Take It. Yeah. I mean, when you come out with like the presupposition that you're controversial, that kind of blows. I always thought Twisted Sister sucked. I thought it was a stupid fucking pose of bullshit. I mean, again, Suicidal Tendencies came out in 83. Like, what the fuck do I need Twisted Sister for? I don't get it. I don't know who the fuck reacted or responded to that shit. This is dumb. Takes like, and then finally Cover Me, my Bruce Springsteen's coming up the charts. And Quiet Riot. So Slade's got two in a way because Quiet Riot's cover of Mama We're All Crazy Now hits in at the end of this year. And Only Flame in Town, Elvis Costello does chart low in the charts. Like I said, you know, the lower half of the charts is where anything interesting is happening. Because yeah, it's super, super predictable other than that. God damn, I forgot how big Lionel Richie was. Did I talk about The Longest Time? I've talked way too much about Billy Joel in all of these episodes. I don't want to talk about Billy Joel anymore. I can't do it. But yeah, Dancing in the Dark and Cover Me All Start to Blow Up. There's another good one. That's a standout where like you're not going to get it on an album. You're not going to get it like as a big famous whatever, which is Scandal featuring Patti Smythe, the Warrior. Shooting at the walls of heartache, bang, bang. I am the warrior. And my man, Jay Giles' band, Peter Wolf, Lights Out. Dance, dance, dance. That was a huge hit, top 10, man. Come on, Peter. I mean, come on, give Peter Wolf some credit. He went on to have an incredible career. And Sheila E.'s The Glamorous Life is this year, too. I did not talk about that. That's a mega fucking song. That was huge shit. Oh, my God. I forgot about Glamorous Life. And again, this whole circle of just like, stuff that's just the distance. Like, God damn, that you go down. It's like The Last Time I Made Love by Joyce Kennedy and Jeffrey Osborne. Like, that's 52, because the amount of money you have to spend to get the public consciousness, to get on FM radio and MTV and have a look and have a sound that gets you into the top 20. No one can do that. So like super fucking nothing records are like stuck in the back end of the chart. It's a really strange separation. Like I said, it's like an air gap. And this is the year where it just starts. The separation is so bad and so boring for everybody. Oh, now here's one. This doesn't get remembered. The artist gets remembered. I don't think anybody has forgotten Sheena Easton, but Strut, sort of like 9 to 5. Strut now, but that's a good fucking tune, man. You should go back and fucking listen to Strut by Sheena Easton. I don't think that's getting remembered particularly well, but it was very big in the moment. And yeah, we talked before. This is when Wham cracks. You got Careless Whisper. You got Wake Me Up in America. Again, there's like an 8-month gap before Wham can get anything going in America, because all the record companies are just like, who gives a shit about this? They don't have songs, blah, blah, blah. And like I told you in the last video, you got to get the Simon Napier Bell books, because he absolutely fucking worked the entire American record industry, did an end run around him, just dominated. He's the fucking man. He made Wham happen. But yeah, so here we get Billy Ocean, because I told you, I think I said in the last video, I associate Billy Ocean with Halloween, and Caribbean Queen, October 13th, number 6, and then number 2, October 20th. This is the year when I got beat up. Well, not really beat up, but this is the year when I got decked, tripped, shoved to the ground, and shaving cream and mustard sprayed all over me. Was this Halloween? So when I think about Drive by the Cars, Let's Go Crazy, fucking Caribbean Queen, all of these songs, they remind me of that horrible fucking thing. Oh, and I was wrong. I forgot. It's not just Infatuation. Some Guys Have All the Luck is this year. God damn. Rod Stewart really, he crushed it. And this is when Rock in Rio happens too, I think. And Rod Stewart was in Rock in Rio. Kathy Valentine tells some funny stories about that actually in her memoir, of that. Rock in Rio was insane. Here's a little known story. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't want, what's the fair way to say it? So everybody knows, I would assume, if you know anything about the Go-Go's, you know that Charlotte Caffey had a huge heroin problem. It's very public knowledge. She went into rehab, and then after she got a rehab, she was like, fuck this, and broke up the Go-Go's. But before she went into rehab, she got kicked out of Ozzy Osbourne's dressing room because she was so fucked up. Nothing says more than the fucking the guitarist and principal songwriter of the Go-Go's was so fucked that Ozzy's management team was like, you got to go. And they like threw her out. And yeah, so closing the year, Blue Jean Bowie gets in there. It's sort of the end for him for a little bit after this. And you know what? I mentioned Private Dancer, but like Better Be Good to Me was a big hit and a very modern production for Tina Turner. That's a really solid song that doesn't get talked about much. Better Be Good to Me. It's got a lot of like strong production. Good shit. It's a good one. Out of Touch, Hall & Oates. You're right. God, what an obvious, torturous song. Just goes forever. It's so basic. Oh, God, I don't like that at all. I never liked that. Culture Club ends. War Song comes out. It's like just de facto bought on the Culture Club name. Nobody gives a shit. But yeah, I mean, What's Love Got to Do with It was big, big, big. But Better Be Good to Me is like a really resilient, very different vibe for Tina Turner. Two Tribes does chart at the very, very end of the year, at the back end. But what's the other? There's another one I was thinking about that's really interesting that I didn't mention. Oh, somebody mentioned in the chat, The Time, Jungle Love. Jungle Love comes in at the end of the year, and that did pretty well. Not like, top whatever. I mean, the other, I guess, the very, very Christmas 84 is Wham. Wake Me Up Before You Go Go hits number one in it's like around Thanksgiving or some shit, and it's number one for the rest of the year almost. It's like, it's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Wild Boys. Yeah. This all is coming back to me. Holy shit. Christmas 1984. Out of Touch, Hall & Oates, Wild Boys, Duran Duran, Like a Virgin, Madonna, I Feel For You, Shaka Khan, fucking Cool It Now, New Edition, No More Lonely Nights, Paul McCartney, We Belong, Doom Doom, Doom Doom. Jesus Christ, the stuff at the end of 84. Goddamn, I remember, like, I got the shittiest Transformer for Christmas. I got Ironhide, the fucking minivan. Like, my dad was making mad fucking money. And I got, like, all the fucking beat shit Transformer for Christmas. Like, I didn't any good shit. Was Prince a Cocteau Twins? Oh, there's an apocryphal thing about how Prince sampled the second song on Heaven or Las Vegas. Yeah, he did. This is, like, way later, though. I guess I could do a part two for 84. I mean, I know it would be kind of like a little bit, but I mean, we didn't even talk about Zen Arcade really or any of that. I guess I could. I don't know. It looks like we're going to be in lockdown through May, so we could pretty well get through the 90s if I can keep up like an every third day cadence. But man, yeah. And Run to You, Bryan Adams, which, by the way, Lou Barlow of Sebadoh, Brian Dinosaur Jr., Centro, he does a pretty funny cover of Run to You on Wasted Pieces. So you can Google that. Lou Barlow's cover of Run to You. I'm going to run to you. God, he's such a fucking hilarious dude. But, it's not until the end of the year, the last chart of 84 in America is the first chart, I think, on which Born in the USA appears. I think I should push on to 85 too, because honestly, it's like, this is the stuff that informs the fabric of it, of the memories of like what really happened and all that. Like, I think I had enough kind of a broad stroke conversation about the separation between the overground and the underground to do that kind of like insertion with the last video. But I think that that stuff's not forgotten. We're constantly trying to reify and remember the underground bands, the alternatives to this. But this is what that time felt like. It didn't feel like the Minutemen, except for people who were in college or who, were part of this scene. And it's like hundreds of people. It's not even thousands really yet. And even when it becomes thousands, it's like, I don't know. We've spent so much more time talking about these supposedly like lost records or whatever that we're not remembering what the mainstream was like. It's almost like the mainstream is the alternative in a way. And I find that very weird, you know, because I mean, I was somebody who did that myself. I was somebody who was concerned about finding out about things that I wouldn't have found out about unless I made an effort, right? But we have the internet now, and I've written multiple essays about this. 12 years ago, I'm writing essays about the Goldfish Bowl and Generation Pokemon, and how all of these impulses are completely inverted by the internet. Because just go fucking Google it. Go look at a fucking playlist on Spotify. You don't need me to help you find Zen Arcade. Like, the number and incessant tempo of people beating you over the fucking head with Zen Arcade and Double Nickels, and like, does anybody need the reassurance that they've heard of the Minutemen in 2020? This is just like a false dichotomy that I just don't. It's so fucking boring. I did like this whole like indie precious worthy. I've heard of X. It's just over. I wish we could just move on and stop this. RYM, Last FM. It's so silly and sad to me that anyone would invest themselves in the notion of having refined music taste. What did you do to develop refined music taste? You didn't do anything. The same information is available to everyone. And I've been saying this for fucking 15 years almost. It's silly. We just need to kind of stop thinking about music this way. And so that's why as we go through this, and I do think it's important to call out in a historical way that 83 is very important. And that at that time, this notion of like bands doing their own thing and the false choice of selling records or whatever, like, that is new. It is novel, and REM is coming up, and these bands are establishing these patterns. And like I said, all those English labels had proven it. And it is an important aspect of the 80s. And yes, there is that separation, and those bands do these things. But the valorization of all of that is so, I mean, it's just, the last 20 years has just been like this unending overcorrection. And I'm so tired of it. I just don't. Obscurity is impotent at this point. It means nothing to me. Like, I don't. If you're on Bandcamp, okay, great. I hate Bandcamp. They're funded by venture capitalists, and all the people that write for them are like D-grade fucking losers that couldn't write for shit. It's such a fucking waste of time. Look, if you're forming a scene, and I started out talking about Doom Trip, yeah, go there, do that, form your collective, and form your identity, form your image, get your signifiers and get your sound and all that stuff. And that's what everybody does. And some people are going to fall, some people are going to fall for it. Some people are going to fall in love with it. And I'm one of those people. I salute, and I did a video about Blackest Ever Black, Orange, all these things, and up through Doom Trip, which I've been, repping so hard for years. But I think the need to kind of impose your bias on other people has got to stop. We got to stop that shit. I don't see the point in creating, like, if you like music is it's ether. I literally wrote this 12 years ago. It's ether, right? It's all out there. If it's not all out there, it's easily attained. File sharing, you're going to be able to hear everything you want to hear. What does that mean now? I don't have the answer to it, but I certainly think that, like, these false dichotomies and narcissism and, you know, I mean, no, there's not, you know, there's not as much infighting in the internet era, but I almost feel like that's a problem. Like, it would be better if people were calling each other posers and like creating fights, because that went on when that was still going on in the 90s, you know, when all these bands were touring and shit. And it was like fight for your territory in a way. Okay, well, if you want to be big, make a good record. You can't, then fuck you. You suck. I just don't. It's so hard. The concept of distinguishing yourself, your music distinguishing itself, the patterns and the avenues by which this occurs, to me, are totally indistinct and can't be qualified. Like Twitter, Bandcamp, it's all surface level. It's just frosting, right? There's no cake. And yeah, the world where there was cake, which was physical media, is over. Nobody's fault. But how do you move beyond, like, we're going on 10 years of bullshit vaporwave fucking dog shit? Like, if I see another fucking CMYK VGA colored fucking tape that some rich kid printed 100 copies of in a fucking fluorescent cassette shell, fuck off. Like, seriously, just shut the fuck up. It's so fucking artificial and stupid and boring. And I don't know the way out of it. But, you know, I started this video talking about how we lost essentially the novelty that crept through and poked through coming out of punk, and this generational fissure that occurred in the early 80s is totally over in 84. It's just totally fucking reverted to normal patterns. But there's still physical media. There's still arbitrage between information, when it comes out, who hears it, how many people buy it, how much money, all that stuff. None of that exists anymore. It's all ideas. And if it's an idea economy, I just think people got to start trying a lot fucking harder than they have been for the last 10 years. Because I've said a million times, 2009 to 2013, that's it. That's the last good period we've had. I'm still waiting.